Okay, so we're going to diagram this last sentence. So this last one says, Chad knows that Mr. Marsh's classes are the only classes that will help him next year. I purposely used Chad Royer because I'm pretty sure he's probably the only person who's watching this video. So here we go. As I read this, I can see that I have this word that, which typically starts an adjective clause. So I'm just going to read this. It says, Chad knows that, and it says, Mr. Marsh's classes are the only classes. And all of a sudden, I come across the word that again. I'm going to do a different color this time. All right, so let's go here. And it says, that will help him next year. Well, let's just kind of dissect what's going on here because it's a little tricky. So I know the word that can start an adjective or a relative clause. And so here's this word that. Let's kind of go backwards a little bit. And so I have to say, okay, is this describing a noun in front of it? Well, here's this word classes. All right, so here's my noun classes. And I can see that this guy might be trying to describe the word classes. And so think about it. Are these basically classes that will help him next year? Yeah. So this is a big old adjective clause describing that word classes. Perfect. When I go to the front here, here's this word that, and it should be describing a noun directly in front of it. And I don't have a noun in front of it. I have a verb. And the only noun I have in front of it is even the word Chad, which is a little too far away for it to be modifying that. And so this is not Chad that Mr. Marsh's classes are the only classes. It's not describing Chad at all. So what's going on here? So don't forget what we've already done. And we know the word that. The very first time we came across the word that was not an adjective clause. It was a noun clause. And so before we got into this unit, we would have taken that word that and we would have immediately said, okay, that must be some kind of noun clause up on a tree. And that's what's happening here. We're saying that Chad knows what. This is all answering the question of what. This is a big old noun clause. This one here describes the classes. It's answering the question of which ones, which classes, the classes that will help him next year. And therefore, this becomes an adjective clause or a relative clause. So let's diagram this one so we can visually see the difference between these two. So I'm going to build this one close to the bottom. No, maybe in the middle. Kind of a wavy line here. So I have Chad knows, and Chad knows what. Here's our tree. Here's our direct object because this clause here is actually my direct object. Chad knows classes. Whose classes? Mr. Marsh's classes. I don't know if I'll fit this in here, but we'll try it, right? Mr. Marsh's classes. Here's our verb, are. Slant that line, it's to be verb, they are. Here's my noun. Renames it other noun classes, which kind of sounds stupid. Classes are classes. And then they are the classes. Only classes. Once again, that's a noun clause. Now I'm going to add in my adjective clause. I'm going to do a different color for him. Maybe. There we go. And so my adjective clause is going to be separate. And I'm going to anchor it to my verb, which is will help. Jeffrey. Sorry. Let's try it this way. Will help. And they will help when? Next year. Well, that's a kind of a throwback to our last unit. That's an adverbial objective. Year is telling us when they will help him. I should go ahead and put the word him. But when will they help him? Next year. Remember, we don't come down with next and over with year. Year gets to sit here, and then next is describing. It's like last year, next year, this year. This is next describing year, next year. And then your subject, well, the only word you have left over is the word that. If you think about it, as we did before, the word classes is trying to sit right here. Remember, because the relative pronoun, in this case the word that, is renaming the word classes. So these two are the same. So really what you're saying is the classes will help him next year, except you don't really have the word classes twice. I'm just going to go ahead and erase that. Maybe. Well, it's trying to. There we go. But what I really have is I have the word that, and I want to connect it back to classes. Remember, I'm connecting back to this classes because it's next to that noun, not the first word use of the word classes. So this becomes my adjective clause. And so Mr. Chad knows Mr. Marsh's classes are the only classes. Which classes? These are classes that will help him next year. So this down here, this is our relative clause or our adjective clause. And this was a noun clause right here. Pattern is a pattern 7 because we have a subject, action, verb, direct object, even though this one's also pattern 7 as well. But this is our main sentence here. Chad knows direct object up from here. All right, so I just want to show you that even though now we're dealing with the word that as an adjective clause, not to forget the fact that the word that could also be a noun clause. I'm sorry for my soft voice today. It's 4:50 in the morning and my girls are sleeping and I'm downstairs trying not to wake them. Okay. Let's stop this. Okay.